Okay, guys, we're gonna go over currently certain interesting topic in today's video. Of course, if everybody that watches basketball has heard of the player Kwame Brown before, he's a former number one pick from I think the 2001 draft. That was a massive, highly acclaimed number one pick coming out of college that was anticipated to roll around as a young prospect with Michael Jordan leading the Washington Wizards. Career didn't go as highly anticipated, so he ended up as somewhat of a tenured journeyman instead of a consistent all-star, given his number one pick status. And this is comparable from LeBron James, a few years after he was drafted, with former number one pick Kwame Brown controversially claimed that being a bust and having a better career of an NBA icon of LeBron James. During an appearance in the Pivot podcast, Brown made a perplexing comment about the career in comparison to LeBron. I think it was better being a bust. Being a bust is better. LeBron can't do what I can do. They take pictures everywhere. I was a bust. I ain't nobody taking pictures of me everywhere I went, he said. So he's comparing over having a more comfortable situation, even though I bet he really wish he had that type of attention. A number one pick, especially over his extent, gets a bit glossed over when you underperform around the next few years out of LeBron. That was coming out of freaking high school. And you see how much he impacted over the league. And I could sort of understand possibly stress-wise, comfortability-wise, Kwame Brown possibly feels like he's had a bit more of a comfortable experience with not having the pressures anymore of being the number one pick that LeBron has had for being from the number one pick into the young all-star to a championship leading guy into not being the greatest of all time. So I can sort of understand that sentiment, but I wouldn't say that it's a bit better. I'm sure it's a better situation for you, being a number one than when LeBron was number one. Brown's statements has likely raised eyebrows among basketball fans, as LeBron widely considered one of the greatest of all time. He's won 4 NBA championships, 4 MVPs. In contrast with Kwame's career, it was considered a disappointment by many, averaging 6.6 points per game, 14 seasons in the league, and never lived up to hype that accompanied being the top overall pick. And yeah, it also comes to him also being part of the Los Angeles Lakers. I think he also went to the New York Knicks also, so that's nice history for anybody that's a Knicks fan. They had Kwame Brown. And yeah, seasoned veteran. He still had a tenure in the league, and if you look at his numbers, he's been consistently average around being a rotation big or a somewhat fringe starter for majority of his career. And being in the NBA, like Anthony Bennett, I think it was a worser bust than Kwame Brown ever will be, because while Kwame Brown, yes, he wasn't an acclaimed all NBA first team player. He had a role, especially over size, being a major asset. How defensively minded nowadays, back in the day, basketball was. Kwame could still, if he was staying consistent in the gym, wasn't getting that much into trouble, and just was a reliable hand whenever it come to rotating around the floor. There's no reason why Kwame Brown wouldn't have stayed in the league as much as he can. Hell, Ryan Hollins was in the NBA for that long and nobody gave a shit about it. While Anthony Bennett barely even got through most of the critiques that he had over his first couple seasons in Cleveland over Andrew Wiggins, that became at least somewhat of an exciting role piece around the Cavaliers, and they traded up to get a guy like that. While Andrew Wiggins later won an NBA title around the previous season with the Golden State Warriors. And even though he had a inconsistent role to play over being a starter with the Minnesota Timberwolves, front office wise and his consistency wise, he still had an upside to still start for the team. While Anthony Bennett was hopping on and off G League teams before finally playing overseas. And that's a number one pick. And high expectations, all because Kwame Brown was getting hired up by LeBron, Michael Jordan in the front office, while there's been number one picks that haven't even gotten out of winning a championship that LeBron has done. But I feel like it's just the pressure and finally weighing it out of his shoulders after he hasn't came up to expectations. So people are just labeling over the archetypes, like Kwame Brown is saying that he's a better player. And there's stuff that Kwame can contribute that LeBron possibly can't. And that's just over their style of play. It says here also, this is by Basketball Network. Is there a merit to his comments? In his defense, there's underlying truths to his words. True, LeBron cannot live a normal life in a household name as he would, stormed by fans just walking down the streets of LA, while Los Angeles Lakers superstar has had incredibly successful career. He has faced a great deal of criticism and pressure. The expectations to win all the time can be incredibly stressful, and the constant, scrutiny of all of one's every move can be exhausting. Nevertheless, to trade his career of one of the most recognizable athletes of all time is a bit of a stretch to anyone, let alone Kwame Brown, who is widely considered a laughingstock among die-hard Lakers fans. I think basketball fans in general, especially somebody like Stephen A. Smith. That's a recognizable Knicks fan, and over the time of Kwame Brown being a massive hype train around the league, did not live up to expectations. And that sucks. Not a lot of young guys can live around that. And around reading over this article, it stinks, Kwame can, at least after most of his career being like the worst bust in NBA history, he can do that while living his life in peace. Knowing that he literally played a massive career in basketball, possibly saved up all his money, could relax with his family, while possibly even when LeBron retires from the league, and that pressure goes up to his sons. Because, of course, Bronny is possibly going to play college ball. Bryce is going to be going to get older. And that pressure is just going to keep driving around LeBron's name for possibly a very long time. And that's it. And there's more of a comfortability factor into Kwame's life out of LeBron James' life. And that's what you could possibly compare out of these two guys. Other than them being the number one pick and having high expectations, having that consistently over your head does something to a person. And that happens to a lot of people, a lot of athletes, a lot of actors, a lot of successes, and yeah, that's most of what I have for this article. How you guys feel about Kwame Brown's opinions over this recent article? If you guys think differently, you think Kwame is just dragging it, you think there's some truth to what Kwame Brown is saying, comment down in the comment section below. Love to hear your opinion. That's it for me. Thanks for watching the DSD show, and enjoy the rest of your week.